What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Russo, just in case you did not know so. And we're back again, once again, with the Mock, where we take a look at someone else's mock draft and I give you my opinions on it. I think this is very important to basically look at all the different possibilities in the NFL draft. And boy, oh boy, we got a banger for you today. I got Mike Dees. He is a Bro Scout tier member. I like to take one of the members' mock drafts and do a mock the mock on it. So hey, if you're interested, the best way to support the channel is becoming a member, so go ahead and do that. Thanks again to Mike D. I will also be streaming later tonight. Going to continue the dynasty. We're at Old Dominion now. ODU, stinking Taylor Heineke's alma mater, man. It's gonna be fun. Maybe I change the quarterback's name to Taylor Heineke. Oh, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we will do that. By the way, before we get into this, I should have rankings starting this weekend. I'm going to take this weekend to go over wide receiver and cornerback on my own. I think we're going to start with like quarterback, but typically the secondary and the wide receivers take me a little more time to do just because it's a lot of prospects, but I'm also going to try to get a big board out to you after those finish up. But yeah, should be a blast. Should get another. Actually, I'm going to try to get a 7-round mock draft out there as well. But let's go ahead and let's dive into. Bam! Here we go. So I haven't seen this yet, so you're getting my raw reactions. But Trevor Lawrence going to the Jags. Self-explanatory. It makes sense. Justin Fields going to the Jets. I do agree that they need a quarterback. Currently, I got Zach Wilson higher than I have Justin Fields, but honestly, to each their own. They're like 2A, 2B, kind of in my opinion. So if you rather Fields, then that's fine as well. Devonte Smith going to the Dolphins. Another one where I'm kind of cool with. I prefer Jamar Chase. He's higher on my board. Basically, I feel like he does all the things that Devonte Smith does well, just at 20 pounds heavier. You don't have to worry about how his size translates, but I get it. Smith and Tua, they have the chemistry, being former teammates at Alabama. So to each their own. So good. So far, so good. There we go. And then he has the 49ers trading up. I don't have the specifics on this trade, but maybe I do. Hold on. I do have the specifics. So wow, that's a lot. That is a lot. Oh, man, we won't go into the specifics, but, man, the Niners are giving a lot to move up there. Maybe he just did that just so he can make the trade. So let's not look too far into that. Let's just focus on the pick. The Niners, they get Zach Wilson. Hey, if he's available there, perfect. The Niners, they need to move on from Jimmy G. If they can't trade him, I assume they're going to cut him. I don't believe at all that they're going to take that, $26 million cap hit. I don't think they're going to keep him as their quarterback next season. Penei Sewell, it makes sense. Protect Joe Burrow. So far, I'm total agreement on these first 5 picks. Let's go to the next 5. And then we have the Philadelphia Eagles going Jamar Chase. I had them going Devonte Smith last time just because Chase wasn't on the board. So I totally agree here. The Lions, I don't think they need to take a quarterback. So they go Jalen Waddle. I totally agree, man. Why settle for the 4th best quarterback in this draft when you have enough draft capital next year to trade up to that first spot and grab maybe Spencer Rattler if he's a top quarterback in next year's draft? Carolina Panthers, they go Trey Lance. Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater is totally a bridge quarterback. That's pretty punny right there, but get a guy with better tools and someone you can maybe just have sit for the first 10 games, first year. Broncos, they go Caleb Farley. Yeah, they could definitely use some help at secondary or at corner. Boye, he's a free agent. They really only have Calhoun, who's at his best in the slot. So getting Farley, who predominantly played in his own defense and has those ideal shutdown traits that you look for in corners, makes sense. And then the Dallas Cowboys go Patrick Surtain. Very popular mock right now for the Cowboys is going with whoever is there at corner, whether it's Farley or Surtain. So they basically get a better version of Trevon Diggs. So you know what? I don't see anything to complain about thus far through the first 10 picks. So far, I think this is a good mock draft. And then let's go to the next 5. The New York Giants, they go Kwity Paye. The only concern I have probably with Kwity Paye right now for the Giants, I don't know how much of a scheme fit he'll be. Because going a bit further into just how I think he translates best in the NFL, I think he needs to be maybe a base 4-3. I think that's when he'll be at his best. He's not much of an interior rusher, so I don't see him being a 3-4 end. So, I mean, this is something I would have mocked maybe a couple of days ago if I didn't go back over the edge class, and now I'm starting to get a little bit more specific where I think they maybe fit best. So I don't think this is maybe an ideal scheme fit. The Falcons, Micah Parsons falls to them. I think they're set at linebacker, but Parsons really, you can use him as an edge. Realistically, he says he's an edge rusher at heart, so I'm totally cool with that. The Los Angeles Chargers go Rashawn Slater. He's projected to have this versatility where he could play guard, maybe even center. But best case scenario, you get your left tackle of the future. The left tackle has been a hot mess for the Chargers, so totally cool with that. Joseph Asai going to the Vikings. All right, this is probably the first pick in this mock that I'm like, I don't like it at all. Joseph Asai, some people are really high on him. I wouldn't say that I'm not high on the guy. I just think he's a second-round pick. He, compared to some of the other edge rushers in this class, like Ojulari, Jalen Phillips, Carlos Basham, he doesn't have that elite athleticism. Like, his movement skills are solid, but he doesn't have like an elite burst. He has a solid bend, solid flexibility around the edge, but I just don't think his skill set is worthy for maybe this top to mid first round area. But the Vikings going edge, it does make sense. I just don't think Osai. I think if they really wanted to go edge at this point, shoot, I know this is a bit high, but maybe Basham, maybe Gregory Russo would be a better fit here. And then the Patriots, they go Mac Jones. I believe Mac Jones will go somewhere in the top 20. I got him as a late first rounder, but I definitely believe quarterbacks, they get overdrafted. The Patriots, they have no one at quarterback. No one. Jarrett Stidham, get out of here. Just go. So totally makes sense. Totally plausible. Realistically, maybe the Patriots trade down a bit and then draft him, but I mean, then you risk losing your quarterback. That's kind of what the Giants did with Danny Dimes. They were like, why trade back? This is who we think our guy is. He might not have this value, but we don't want to risk someone else picking him up. So that could be the case here for that Mac Jones pick as well. And then the next 5 picks, Arizona Cardinals go J.C. Horn. He's a real good scheme fit. He's a very popular mock. It's really hard to see him go elsewhere. So, okay, I'm down with that. Gregory Russo going to the Raiders. Yeah, this feels like this could be a pick here, but I mean, Russo, he did his best work as an interior pass rusher, so he might honestly be, depending on where he's weighing at now, if you think you could develop him better against offensive tackles that he can't, because he's got a unique bend for a guy with his type of frame, his type of build. And if you think you could develop that guy into being a guy that can bend the edge, then totally. But I mean, part of me kind of thinks maybe he's better along the interior. But again, if he's still around that 260, 270 area, I mean, that you don't want him doing that. So, this totally makes sense. I'm just kind of like nitpicking here. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah going to the Dolphins. I think if you're making this pick, then you're not satisfied with either Noah and Big Nagani in the slot, because I think JOK can play the slot. At least I think that'll be his role immediately, or he'll kind of fill in the Brandon Jones role, another guy who they drafted just last year. So if they're not satisfied with Jones or with Igbin Nagani, then I think they make this pick, because I feel like that's kind of where Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah fits in this defense. But I think they'd still maybe rather those guys develop. I mean, I think he's a top 20 guy. So, I mean, if you're drafting him for the sake of value, I think that totally makes sense. The Washington football team go Kadarius Toney. I had this mocked a little bit in one of my mocks just maybe a few weeks ago. And it totally makes sense whether it's Taylor Heineke or Alex Smith there under center. Toney is a guy that's going to be just a vital weapon underneath that can create after the catch, and it would totally fit basically the skill set of the quarterbacks you are going into the 2021 season with. The Bears, they miss out on the quarterbacks. Rashad Bateman's an excellent pick here. I love Rashad Bateman. I actually have him above Tony, but I think Tony maybe fits Washington a bit better. Fits, I guess their quarterback's a bit better. But with Allen Robinson potentially leaving, he's gone. He ain't coming back to Chicago. I think it's important to address the receiver room because who do you have there with Allen Robinson gone? You have Darnell Mooney, who is phenomenal, but still he's more of a number 2 guy. Still a guy that I think you don't want him to have to rely to create by himself. You don't want him double teamed. You want that guy to get off he does a good job getting off the press, but I could talk for days from here. The dude's tremendous at the contested catch point, despite his size, and he's just so quick and such a great runner. And he creates after the catch. Like, you want to give those guys, a guy that can create in space like that. You don't want him to be like eyed up, man. Like, I'm not saying he's like Tyreek Hill, but you don't want him to be the focal point, because believe me, Anthony Miller, the teams ain't worrying about Anthony Miller. Maybe they should, probably not. But I think having another receiver outside on the boundary that the defense has to worry about, it just helps Mooney all that much more. And then on to the next 5. Indianapolis Colts, they go Samuel Cosmi. He's an immediate replacement for Anthony Costanzo. Cosmi might be a bit rich with Christian Darrisaw. I have Darrisaw a bit higher. I think Darrisaw is like a top 15 guy, just athletically and physically. See, that's the thing with Cosmi. A lot of his knocks are going to be he can't handle physical pass rushers. Matter of fact, like, it's like his technique. He has no technique when having to face these guys. It just goes out the window. Like, I like Cosmi in a more like outside zone type of scheme, and I really think he might end up falling to the second round, but that's just my opinion on it. Tennessee Titans, they get Azeez Ojulari. Honestly, a bit of his game reminds me it reminds me more of Yannick Ngakoue. I think that's a bit better of a comparison than Harold Landry. But I don't know. I feel like Tennessee, they might go with a more physical pass rusher. So like Boogie Basham, maybe even take a shot at Gregory Russo. So not necessarily. I don't think it's necessarily the best scheme fit, but they need to address pass rush in this draft. And Ojulari is one of the best pass rushers. For me, I love the guy. I think he could be a top 15. I'm very, very high on him. And then Kyle Pitts, he ain't falling to 22, man. I just don't see it. I get he's a tough guy to predict where he may go, but I don't see him falling here. I mean, it's great steal for the Jets, but I just don't see it happening. Xavier Collins going to the Steelers. This guy has I say this guy a lot, man. I'll try to be better. This player has a very good skill set, man. He can hold up in coverage. He can rush the passer. Like, he had a great pass rush win rate when asked to do that at Tulsa. And he's very stout against the run game. And I mean, be a dude that they're totally would love to have, a guy a edge that they could have out there on the outside if they think Alex Highsmith is more of a pass rushing specialist, so more of a only on the field during passing downs. I don't really believe that. I think, if anything, they'd probably move him next to Devin Bush. But I like the pick here. Christian Darrisaw is an absolute steal for the Jags, and I just don't see him falling here. But you know what? It's the NFL draft. Players fall. I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt. Next 5 picks. Jalen Phillips going to Cleveland. Honestly, this is probably one of my favorite areas right now to mock Phillips, because he's just totally fits what Stefanski would love. He would love, because he's got a bit of power to his game, but he's also very, very quick. He's got a great burst, and he's got a decent set of pass rushing moves. Concussions is what's really probably going to hurt his stock if he does fall, but I think he's a good fit for the Browns. And then the Ravens go Terrace Marshall Jr. out of LSU, the wide receiver. So they get a big, speedy guy on the outside. But I don't really know if they're really going to, because it sounds like, hey, we're going to keep with the heavy run game. I just don't think that Greg Roman, they're going to really experiment, or I don't really think they're going to expand what they do with their receivers. And if so, bringing in more receivers isn't going to help the matter a ton. Unless they're willing to take the next step in Lamar Jackson's development as a passer, I don't think this pick does anything. That's just my opinion, though. Nick Bolton, go to the Saints, phenomenal. You get an eventual replacement for Demario Davis and a guy you can plug and play immediately. Asante Samuel Jr., really, realistically, probably, it's hard to predict who's going to be the fourth corner to kind of sneak in the first round. And I think he'd be an absolute steal here at the end of the first round. He just got ridiculous athleticism, elite. The big knock on him is his size, but I'm okay with that. I think he has the potential to really be great. He has shown a knack to make some actual plays on the ball, especially this past season. He was the best, hands down, player for Florida State on that defense, on a very crappy defense that should have performed a lot better. While the players around him were performing terribly somehow, because typically when the team around you isn't doing well, that will hurt your production as well. That wasn't the case for Samuel. So I like this pick a ton. Elijah Vera Tucker to the Bills. They could go best player available, and I'd totally be okay with it. Makes sense. They need some help at guard. So, yeah, I'm totally on board with that. And then the final two picks, Christian Barmore. I like Barmore a lot, but I don't know how much the NFL will like him. I think he could really, realistically, I think he could. Minnesota would be that first pick where I think teams start considering Barmore. He was tremendous during the playoffs. He utterly destroyed a very good offensive line there at Notre Dame, who are going to see a lot of NFL guys, a lot of players this year get drafted off that offensive line. So I like this. I think you get an immediate plug and play player here. And then Wyatt Davis goes to the Chiefs. Again, another team that could go best player available. They could do whatever the heck they want with this pick, and I'd be okay with it. Wyatt Davis, I think it's fine. I think there might be sexier picks that they could do around here. Matter of fact, let's explore the possibilities then. What could they do around here? Elijah Moore would be scary. I think Elijah Moore honestly has I think he could sneak into the first round. Elijah Moore is very good. Carlos Basham, honestly, I say honestly in this guy a lot. Sorry, those are my go-to words when I'm thinking. But realistically, Boogie Basham's would be a very good pick here. They like those bigger, more athletic edge rushers. And they really need to get more pass rush because their secondary, I think, is top notch. They just need to get to the quarterback a bit faster. They could go on Liam McNeil. I don't think it's too much of a stretch. They could get a nose tackle there that is very athletic. But I mean, they have some guys there that they're hoping to develop. Who else we have here? Not really offensive tackle. I mean, Taven Jenkins maybe, but I don't know about that. Dylan Radins, realistically, could do that. Could be that guy there. Maybe there isn't a much better pick there. Maybe not. Maybe I'm being a little too critical. But overall, I think this was a very solid mock. Outside of a few scheme fits, I kind of question. I think, honestly, I think Joseph Asai is. I think this is way too high, way too rich for Joseph Asai. Some people will be a bit higher on him. I'm totally okay with that. I think Kwity Paye, I don't think is a good scheme fit for the Giants, but it's Joe Judge. He'll find a way to make it work. So I have faith in the system. Gregory Russo. I mean, if the Raiders think they could develop him, then I think that's okay. I think JOK is probably not going to be a pick or an option here for the Dolphins. I think they might just opt to develop in Big Nagani and Brandon Jones a bit more. So I think they maybe go elsewhere here. Cosme, I'd rather take Darisaw. I don't think Kyle Pitts falls this far. Overall, though, this was a fun-looking draft. But, yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section below. And that's it for the video. But before we head out, I do have a sponsor for today, and it's Thrive Sports. So check this out.
Experience a new way to play daily fantasy sports and esports on Thrive Fantasy. Thrive's game concept revolves around player props, which are simple over-unders on player stats. There are contests for traditional sports including the NFL, NBA, MLB, PGA, and cricket, as well as esports titles including CSGO, Dota 2, League of Legends, and more coming soon. Here's how to play. Choose your lineup of over-unders for top-tier athletes that have the biggest impact on the game. Each prop has a fantasy point total based on how likely it is to hit. The more points the selection is worth, the riskier it is. Rack up the most points and win a share of the prize pool. Thrive is awarded over $2 million in cash, so come and prop up today.
With the big game this Sunday, Thrive Fantasy Sports have you covered if you love those prop wagers. And if you use my code BROSHMO, I got my own code. I made it, Dad. I finally made it. I'm somebody. Or you can just click the link in the description below and you'll receive an instant match up to $50 on your first deposit. Download the Thrive Fantasy app today, or you can check it out online. Again, the link's in the description below. So support the channel, support Thrive Fantasy if you like. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later. Sounded painful.